Most people would consider themselves to be animal lovers. The thought of causing harm to an animal is just too much to bear for most people. Yet every single day on this planet, billions of animals suffer and are murdered just to end up on your plate. So, why is it that animal lovers still consume the flesh and secretions from other animals? Now, the suffering and the violence that these animals endure is unimaginable. Being forcibly impregnated over and over, babies taken away from them, forced to live in confined spaces where they can barely move, mutilated, sexually violated, have their throats slit, forced into gas chambers or macerators. This is the reality for these animals. Growing up, we're conditioned and presented with this false image of happy animals on happy farms. When in reality, when you buy those products from the grocery store, the products displayed are so separate and detached from the individual beings behind those products that you don't ever make the connection while eating their body parts. We're manipulated from a young age to believe that what we're eating isn't even actually an animal, so it just becomes this normalized thing. We're taught to believe that cows are happy to give us their milk, or that hens are happy to give us their eggs, when the reality could not be further from the truth. We have been brainwashed from a young age, and it's been reinforced again and again. The majority of people are completely against animal abuse. They would not stand for it. And if it were happening in front of them with those same animals that they eat, like chickens, pigs, or cows, if abuse to those animals were happening in front of those same people who eat them, they would most definitely interfere and try and stop this animal abuse, because no one wants that, right? No one wants to abuse an animal. And this is the very reason why slaughterhouses are located so far away from the public. The animal agriculture industry is built on lies and secrecy. Why? Because if the public truly knew what was going on, they would never stand for it and they would never support it. When you eat or use animal products, you are paying for a sentient being to live out a horrible, horrible life and to be killed when they're babies, even. You are paying for this to happen, and because you're paying for this to happen, the blood is on your hands. You are involved with this animal abuse. If you love someone, why would you ever pay someone else to kill, torture, and abuse them on your behalf? By eating meat, dairy, and eggs and using animal products like wool, fur, or leather, for example, that is exactly what you're doing. There's a level of hypocrisy in the statement, "I love animals," when you are completely fine consuming the body of a murdered animal, which is completely unnecessary, by the way. Using and viewing animals as resources is something that people are conditioned and socialized into believing. And more often than not, they continue to believe this without even questioning it, and are completely oblivious to the ugly truth and the violence that these animals do have to endure. You aren't showing animals you love them if you eat them. But the next question is, do you even need to love animals to be vegan? Because there are some people who really just aren't animal lovers, and that's okay. But you don't need to be an animal lover to be vegan. Love is not this prerequisite for treating another life with basic decency. I don't have to love or even like every person that I meet, but that doesn't give me the right to do whatever I want with them just because I'll get something out of it. A lot of people don't even like children, but you don't have to like children to know that child abuse is wrong, right? Now, going back to what I said at the beginning, most people do consider themselves to be animal lovers, and they wholeheartedly disagree with animal abuse. And those people's values already line up with the principle of veganism. It all comes down to aligning your actions with your values. Stop contributing to the needless suffering, abuse, torture, and murder of sentient animals who have every right to live.